This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country.
Right now on KGW, the FBI makes dozens of arrests in what officials are calling the most brazen sports corruption schemes in the history of online sports betting.
My message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended.
Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are among those at the center of the investigation.
This alleged illegal gambling operation hustled unwitting victims out of tens of millions of dollars.
The indictment's creating a massive cloud over the NBA and the Blazers, who opened their season just last night.
Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived.
How prosecutors say the crime network raked in millions of dollars, all to benefit several mafia families. That's ahead right now on KGW News at noon.
We're continuing to follow that breaking news this afternoon after Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups was arrested this morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm China Green.
And I'm Corey Johnson. Federal prosecutors say Billups was a part of an illegal gambling ring that swindled people out of millions of dollars. Now, Thomas Schultz has been covering this story today and joins us live outside the Motor Center. Now, Thomas, what's the latest?
Yeah, well, guys, the NBA has placed Chauncey Billups on immediate leave from his duties as the head coach of the Blazers, and it comes as he's facing a flurry of federal charges. Thursday morning.
Good morning, everybody.
In a New York City press conference, federal law enforcement announced astounding charges that Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups was a part of rigged poker games involving several New York mob families.
They hid behind layers of complexity, behind money, and behind influence, believing those things would shield them from accountability.
Law enforcement says gamblers were lured in by the opportunity to play alongside celebrities like Billups. What they didn't realize, according to the indictment, the games were scams, thanks in part to rigged shuffling machines. Prosecutors say everyone at the table was in on it, except for the victims, leading to millions of dollars in losses.
Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived.
Feds also announced a second investigation, which found Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier faked injuries or sickness to benefit bettors who knew about the ploy. One of those games was against the Blazers. Billups was not accused of betting on NBA games as a coach or a player.
This is bad for the NBA. It's bad for the Blazers.
John Canzano is a longtime Portland sports columnist. He says the arrests could become a lightning rod around sports betting.
It just drums up all kinds of questions about the ethics and the integrity of the league.
And for the Blazers, just another instance of letting down fans.
And then, this is Groundhog Day. For 25 years, this organization has punched fans in the gut.
Yeah, a big punch in the gut, according to Canzano. Now, look, Canzano says he doesn't believe Billups will ever coach for the Blazers again, but of course he's got bigger issues right now. Billups is expected to have a first appearance at the federal courthouse this afternoon at 1:30, as once again he faces charges for defrauding gamblers of millions of dollars. Guys.
Our Thomas Schultz reporting live this afternoon. Thank you, Thomas. All right, we want to bring in KGW sports reporter Orlando Sanchez now to talk more about this.
That's right, Orlando. Now, we were expecting to hear from the Blazers today. What's the latest with that?
Yeah, you and I both. We were talking about it this morning that the Portland Trail Blazers actually had a media availability scheduled for today involving the players. But obviously, when this news all broke, they canceled that media availability. So we're not going to hear from the players. We're not going to hear from the team until tomorrow when they play again. But the team did release a statement saying, we are aware of the allegations involving head coach Chauncey Billups, and the Trailblazers are fully cooperating with the investigation. Billups has been placed on immediate leave.
Now that he's been suspended, who's taking over as head coach?
Yeah,
that's a big question.
Exactly, because as we mentioned, they've got another game to play. This isn't the offseason. So Tiago Splitter has now been elevated to interim head coach. Now, he joined the Trailblazers this season in June. So he's relatively new and was among some of the other coaches that were brought in 2025. But he does have plenty of coaching experience, both as an assistant in the NBA with the Houston Rockets and the Brooklyn Nets, but also in Europe. So that's going to be interesting to follow, but at least at this point now, they have their interim head coach in place going into tomorrow's game.
And what's next for the Blazers as a whole? I know we just talked about coaching, but the organization as it stands.
Yeah, that's just it. I think everybody was excited. There was plenty of momentum after last night's game, and the product that we saw on the court. Now, all of that comes to a screeching halt and derailed in a way. So minimum, this is going to be a distraction for the team who has to get ready for the remaining 81 games of the season, which begins tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors at the Moda Center.
Orlando, thank you. And if you're just joining us, again, Billups is expected in federal court in downtown Portland at 1:30 today, facing charges for defrauding gamblers of millions of dollars. So stay with KGW for the latest on this developing story. We will bring you team coverage here on the air coming up at 4 o'clock and get the latest news anytime online at kgw.com or on our TV streaming app, KGW+. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Kristen Guinness for a look at your forecast.
Well, it's been a pretty nice morning, guys, so far weather-wise. Cloud cover, though, beginning to creep in. This is from our Wells Fargo sky camera. We're looking to the east, so you can still see some blue sky there. Last check at PDX, it's 63. Meanwhile, here at KGW in downtown Portland, 62 degrees. Now, that's looking to the east. We give you the perspective from our Rose City sky camera. You look off to the west, and it is kind of a thickening cloud cover, and that is the expectation for the remainder of this afternoon. In fact, we'll take you farther west to the coast. The live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City, little haze and mist and whatnot right there out in front of Cascade Head, and certainly the clouds thicker there. So as I show you the visible satellite imagery, you will see the clouds beginning to really fill in a little bit, becoming thicker, and the filtered sunshine that we had out there for the first part of our day is going to go and diminish hour by hour here as we go into the afternoon. So becoming mostly cloudy or completely overcast. Temperatures, though, still inching into the mid-60s, so a smidge above average for this time of the year. And then we turn our attention to what's coming our way tomorrow, Saturday, and the weekend. We've got KGW weather impact alerts up for Friday and Saturday for increasing rain and wind and eventually lowering snow levels in the Cascades as well. Guys, I'm going to wrap all of that up coming up with my full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Chris. In other developing news this afternoon, one woman is dead after a hit and run in North Portland. This happened around 1:30 this morning on North Marine Drive near North Forest Road. Police say when they arrived on scene, they found a woman dead. No arrests have been made. Portland police are asking anyone with information about this to contact them as soon as possible.
And we now know more information about the shooting that happened near Centennial High School. Police are still looking for a suspect who shot a man near Southeast 174th and Hague Street yesterday afternoon. Now, authorities say the victim went to the hospital with serious injuries, but is expected to survive. We don't know exactly what led up to that shooting.
School is closed today for the Corbett School District because of a widespread boil water notice. The Corbett Water District says that there was a leak in the main line that feeds the entire water district. Though they say it's been repaired, a boil water notice has been issued for the entire water district. They're hoping to have lab results on the water by today, but anyone in the Corbett Water District should bring water to a rolling boil for 5 minutes before drinking, brushing your teeth, or washing fruits and veggies. Showering is still okay.
And we also have continuing coverage on the legal fight over National Guard troops being deployed to Portland. The state and the city are trying to convince a larger panel of judges from the Ninth Circuit to review the case after a split ruling earlier this week cleared the way for troop deployment in the Rose City. Now, Oregon argues that decision sets a dangerous precedent that gives the president too much power. Meanwhile, the federal government says the president has every right to deploy the Guard when, in its view, local authorities are not curbing the violence. While that plays out, there's still a restraining order in place from a lower court. Tomorrow, a judge here could get rid of that order, keep it in place, or decide to wait for the appeals court's next move.
It's been 3 weeks since the Oregon legislature passed Governor Kotek's controversial transportation funding package, and she still hasn't signed it. The bill included tax hikes, which Republicans fiercely oppose. Some experts argue that there's a strategy in why she hasn't signed the bill. One possible reason is because Republicans want to refer part of the bill to the November 2026 ballot, and then Republicans would have 90 days after the bill passes to collect the needed signatures. So the longer the governor waits to sign it, the less time they have.
I'll tell you what, she can delay this all she wants. We're still going to gather the signatures. We're still going to get this on the ballot. And Oregonians will remind Salem who really runs this state.
The governor has until November 12th to sign the bill, but regardless of when it's signed, ODOT won't get the money until January.